Hi guys, I hope that you enjoyed your 2 week break. I know it's been very hot, so hopefully you're keeping cool. Today we're gonna do something very similar to what we did a few weeks back, focusing on stretching. Today or this week, we will address the muscles of the knee. So we will focus on the knee flexors and the knee extensors, or also known as the hamstrings and the quadriceps muscles. These are very important to maintain stretching on, as it's so easy to get a contracture in these joints. As our bones grow, our muscles do not. So we need to stretch them so they can keep up with the bone growth. Again, as a guideline, it's very important to stretch at least 2 times a day or 3 times if it's possible for you. I know it's very difficult to get it in. I recently started physical therapy myself, and it's very hard to stay on my routine. One thing I've noticed in recent research, though, is that they're saying it's best to hold longer. So if you can hold the stretch for your child for 1 to 2 minutes, that is ideal. If they do not tolerate it, I would do a minimum of 45 seconds. I hope this helps. I hope you enjoy the video. In addition, I would highly recommend that you guys work on the sitting handout that I'm sending to you as well. Take care, and I hope you're staying healthy. Okay, so the first muscle we're going to address is the hamstring muscles, also known as the knee flexors. And the way that we're going to stretch that muscle is by bringing it into extension. So you want to have the knee on top of the hip. You want to make sure that the opposite leg is as flat as on the ground as that we can be. And sometimes you may have to even just put your leg on top, or kind of, just stabilize the opposite leg. But for right now, for the video purposes, I want you to be able to see. So I'm going to put his knee on top of his hip. I'm going to try to straighten his leg. He has very tight hamstrings. So this is a stretch that we need to do more often with him. We're going to try to hold this. Like I said in the previous clip, we want to make sure to try and hold this for at least 1 to 2 minutes. It's a very long time. So if your child cannot tolerate that, just try to at least get 45 seconds at least 2 times. Now, if you're able to get them to tolerate 2 minutes, then just doing it 2 minutes 1 time is sufficient, as long as you're doing that a couple times a day. So then you give them a break. And again, this is a very tight muscle on most of our students. So it's one that's super important to be able to complete. So for someone like him, so typically what happens is when I'm stretching up, that other leg pops up, which it kind of did for him. Go ahead and let it pop up. Okay, it comes off the ground. So that's when we want to make sure to stabilize. And it may become difficult. So you can even put the foot on top of the opposite shoulder and kind of pull the knee towards you. Try to tell them to relax. And it's very challenging. But that is stretching the knee flexors, also known as the hamstrings. Okay, so now we're going to stretch the knee extensors, also known as the quadricep muscles, the muscles on the front side of your thigh. This muscle's not as likely to be contracted, but it's most likely tight. Like I said, our muscles don't keep up to our bone growth. So it's still important to at least do this stretch. It may not be as often as the hamstring stretch, but definitely try to get this into the routine at some point. So for this one, they're laying on their stomach. You're gonna bring up the leg and try to have them get it to their bottom, which he has great range. Me, on the other hand, I do not. And it's one of the stretches I have to do right now for physical therapy. So if it's super easy, which it may be for some students, then you just grab underneath the knee and kind of give an extra stretch. And now he feels it. So again, you want to hold this 2 minutes if you can, then you can complete it 1 time, or 45 seconds and complete it for 2 reps. And then again, try to do this at least 2 times a day, maybe morning and nighttime. And if, like I said, if this is a stretch for them, don't lift up the leg. That's just me too much. Try to complete both sides. And that is it for the stretches for this week. We have quadriceps and we have hamstrings. All right.